Multiviews are a way to take a bunch of sources and see them in a single monitor. In Kairos, we can build and configure those however the operator prefers. Multiviews are a way to bring in many sources and put them on a single monitor for operation during a show. To build your multiviews, simply jump down to the Multiviewer Layout tab in your Creator. Now that you've come to that tab, you can see the different multiviewers that you have to build at the middle of your screen here. I've selected Multiviewer 1, so now I can begin building out my look for my first multiviewer. On the left side of our screen, we can see the different pips with a corresponding number. If you notice on the pip, it has a number in the left-hand corner, and that number refers to this menu on the left. Now that I've selected Multiviewer Input 1, I can right-click Set the Source, and I can navigate to any of my inputs as well as any of my outputs to delegate or to route that source to my multiviewer. For now, I can stay in my 16:9 scene that I've created. Along the bottom of the screen, you'll see some different preset layouts. On the left-hand side, we have our 10 factory presets. This is just a single-click recall. So for example, if you needed a quad split, I can single-click on a quad split, and now you can see in the middle here, my Multiviewer 1 has now been transformed into a quad split. If I need to customize beyond that, so I start with a factory preset, but maybe I want to change the size or position of one of these pips, I can simply grab my Move tool down here at the bottom and select the pip that I want to work with, and now I can literally just take the mouse and change that pip's location, or even take my scroll bar or scroll wheel on the mouse and change its size as well. So each multiviewer in Kairos is customizable up to 36 pips. In addition to changing size and position of a pip, you might want to add an additional pip. You can simply right-click anywhere in your multiview here that's open and select Add a Tile. Now I'm able to add another pip to this multiviewer. Once I have that tile added, I have some elements added. Now if I move to the right side of the bottom of my screen, instead of a factory preset, I want to do a user preset. I have the ability to come into any of these slots and save the multiview that I've now configured. To save that multiview, I simply right-click and store. Once I store that multiview, now I get a little thumbnail representation of what that multiviewer looks like. And then now once it is saved, I have the ability to go back and rename that multiviewer. So if I want to rename this multiviewer for today, just give it a name, click OK, and now we can see it saved as a user preset as a part of my production. If I want to go away from this, maybe start building a 10 split, again, single click, factory preset is reloaded. Now I can go in here and make whatever changes I'd like, or maybe I don't like them and just want to go back to the user preset I have saved. Single click brings that user preset back. Beyond just adding and building pictures to your multiviewer, you can also bring in additional elements, things like GPU meters, clocks, audio bars. All of that can be brought in and added to your multiview. So if we wanted to monitor audio, for example, I can come in and just add an audio meter. Now that I've added this audio meter, I can configure it similar to how I would configure a pip. So I can literally just right-click on it to delete it or rename it. Or now that I have it selected, on the right-hand side here, I see my audio level specific settings. I can change the source with the pencil here. That'll bring me to all of my inputs. Maybe I want to grab a clip player, so clip player 1 here. Now I've added that as a source to my audio meter, and we can see that our bars are now moving because we have routed clip player 1 audio to our audio monitoring in the multiview. Other things you may notice on the right-hand side here in our parameter view, we have our global multiview settings, so things like background color, audio source that we're sending down the same path as our multiviewer. If you open up this advanced menu as well, you have some other options to change the text scale across all objects or tally borders. All of that is controlled on a global level. If you'd like to change things like that on a specific pip, simply select the pip you want to manipulate, and now below the global settings we have pip specific settings. So if you want to change size or position of that specific pip, you can do that through the menu here, or there are some advanced options down as well, things like label position or even rotate. Because you do have the ability to work in those odd resolutions, maybe you're working in a 9:16 workflow If you want to rotate objects on the multi-view, you can do that pip by pip. And then of course, in addition to just selecting a specific input or scene as a source, you need the ability to delineate from a main output to a preview output. So for example, in our 16:9 scene, when I select that source, I've now selected the main program or main bus of that 16:9 scene. If I want to see the preview of that scene, I need to select this preview checkbox. Because we don't have defined scenes or a fixed number of MEs, we have the ability to add as many scenes to the multiviewer as we want, and then in turn we can add their previews as well. In this same menu, I can also route tally or show tally. So if you want to give preview a green tally, you can do that here in the source settings. And now that you do that, depending on what you're sending to preview, you will now see green tally for preview, and you see that indicator in pip 6 here. If you like this, if you want to save it, you can come back in and maybe update by storing over, or you can even come in and store a different one. Or if you don't like it, hey, just go in and delete it, clear it out, and go back to the default that you're working with. So again, a ton of changes that can be made to your multiviewer, whether it's adding audio bars or pips or tallies, all of that can be configured here and then output to your control room or to your fly pack.